All right, so with that, I'm going to share my screen. This one, let's do that. Can you see my presentation? Okay, awesome. Well, good evening. My name is Megan Schaefer. I'm the District 8 4-H Specialist. I know a couple of you that are on here, and those of you who I don't know, we're going to get to know you in just a minute. But I just wanted to say thanks, A, for jumping on with us tonight, and B, for being a club manager, because it's a lot, and it takes a lot to do that. And I applaud you all for taking that step to be the club managers and fill those gaps in your county. With that, let me figure out where my mouse is. I want to meet you all. So I know Paige has her camera turned on already, but if you will, you don't have to keep it on the whole time, but if you will, just turn your camera on for a second. Tell me who you are and what county you're from, and then we will go from there. Paige, your camera's already on, so you get to go first.
All righty. I'm Paige Robinson. I'm from Robertson County, and I'm brand new this year. I have a fourth grader. We did 4-H last year, but we kind of just watched everything happen, and I loved it. And so we needed somebody else to step in. And so my friend and I said we would be the club managers together. So we are not knowing what we're doing, but it's great. It's really great.
Awesome. Love it. And that's why you're here tonight, right? To learn how to be the club manager. Awesome. Love that. Exactly. Tracy, you're the next one on my list. Will you open up your camera and tell us who you are and where you're from, if you're able to?
I'm not going to turn my camera on just because it kicks me off of Teams every time. So apologize. I'm just going to stay with it off. But my name is Tracy Bruner. I am from McLennan County, and I am with you, Paige. Brand new to the manager role. We had someone in the Lorena Moody area who stepped down, so me and another girl jumped in to help out.
Awesome. Love it. Thanks so much, Tracy. Teresa, you're next. Are you with us, Teresa?
All right, there we are.
Very good.
All right, there's my camera. I apologize. I've been doing desk work all day, so I was not prepared for camera work.
You don't have to leave it on. We just want to see your face.
So I am Teresa O'Neill. I am in Williamson County. I'm the club manager of the Liberty Hill Club. This is our 9th year in 4-H, but only my 2nd year as club manager. I'm also a project leader for 2 projects, which I'm finding balancing project leadership with club manager a little overwhelming, but so far we're getting it done. So, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Crystal, tell us who you are and where you're from. Oh, Crystal might be frozen. It's not me. I'm not frozen, right? You can still see me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Crystal, when you get unfrozen, we'll let you introduce yourself. In the meantime, I put a link in the comments. I just learned how to use this thing, and I love it. It's called a Jamboard. So if there are questions that come up through the whole presentation that you want to jot down, or you have a thought you want to jot down, feel free to throw it on that Jamboard. We'll peek in at those at the end, and that way if you don't want to forget your question or whatever, you can jot it down there or put it in the chat, either way, and we'll come back at the end and answer everything that's on there. Okay. So with that, yes, ma'am.
Sorry, could you tell me where the Jamboard is?
There's a link in the chat.
Oh, maybe I should ask you where the chat is, because.
Okay. At the top of the screen, there's a bar, and it has a little like thought bubble type thing, and it says chat.
Well, that's funny. Okay, I'm sure I'll figure it out here in a second. So I don't see that yet, but I'm sure it'll pop up.
Okay. So here we are in our new 4-H year, right? We have a new 4-H year going. We have lots of kids enrolling. What did we sign up for? What did we sign up for to be the club manager? What did we sign up for to be a project leader? Any of those things. So that's kind of where I want to start tonight is what is a club manager and what is the role of a club manager? Now, I do realize that some of you might have more experience than others, but we're going to kind of just kick it off here and kind of look at the big picture to start with, and then we'll go into some other things. This is what we're going to talk about tonight, being a chaos coordinator, being a volunteer coordinator, youth engagement and development, reporting, financial management, marketing, and project guidance. All of those things we're going to talk about tonight. It looks like a lot, but we're going to break it down to where it's maybe not so overwhelming. And I apologize, I'm reading off of my notes so that I make sure that I don't miss anything. When we talk about a club manager, we want to look at the big picture. The 4-H club is managed by the club managers and the assistant managers. You as those volunteers are the key ingredients to the success of a 4-H club, and you serve an important role in being a significant adult role model for the youth that are involved in your club. Club managers also give leadership to recruiting others to volunteer and empowering those volunteers to help provide quality 4-H projects and activities for your members. Club managers are responsible for helping form a team with the club officers and creating strong youth-adult partnerships, which we're going to talk about later. It's important for the club managers to help guide the officers and ensure that all the members of the leadership team are involved at some level of the club. And then paying special attention to helping each team member develop relationships with each other. In order for the team to function, they have to get to know each other. They have to understand their strengths that each one of them brings. They have to be able to promote, model, maintain open communication with each other, as well as with all the families in the club. The club manager is also an active participant in club functions. This does not mean that you have to do everything yourself, but it does mean that you empower others to be members of your leadership team and to carry out the duties and provide quality 4-H club experiences for all of your members. So that sounds like a whole lot. Let's break it down a little bit. So first, what exactly is your job? And knowing what you're responsible for is super important. I will preface this with saying that this is going to be different in every county because we have different county agents in every county, and what they expect is going to be different from county to county, but the basics are all going to be the same. Again, it starts with a partnership and a team, and there's lots of teams that you're a part of as a club manager. The first one is being a part of the team with the county extension agent. That relationship should function like that, a team where you have the role that you play and the county agent has the role that they play, and we have to merge those to be cohesive for the whole county program. Remember that no one is a mind reader. They don't know what you need unless you tell them, and it goes vice versa. You don't know what they need unless they tell you. And so I tell my agents all the time that we have to have clear communication lines with everyone so that we know what's going on, we know what the needs are, where the gaps are, and where they can continue to fill in. Again, they need to know from you what you need for to be successful, and you need to know from them what they need of you, whether that comes to reporting, that comes to attending trainings, or anything like that. And getting this going and putting it out on the front end will help go a long way in helping kind of curb some of those frustrations on the back end of things. Again, at some point, you and your county extension agent should have a conversation about these expectations. They can happen one-on-one. They can happen at a club manager meeting. They can happen at a club meeting. It just kind of depends on what is going to work for both of you. So once we establish those expectations, we can get our job going, right? And I want to reiterate that you are a manager. You are not the doer of all the things. Your job as the club manager is to be the manager. You're the chaos coordinator, if you will. You should not be the one that is doing all the things. And I realize that that is a bold statement to say, because it is hard to get other people to do that, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit as well. Actually right now. So if you're not the one doing everything, how does it all get done? Who will do it? Well, again, it is hard to get other parents involved. And so I have a couple of things that we can do to continue to involve those people and bring them alongside of you. One, give them a job. A lot of people don't volunteer because they've never been asked. And they're not people who are going to step up and volunteer. They're going to be people that have to be asked. You will have those people that will step up and volunteer, and that's great. Put them to work where you need them. But if you have a gap that is not currently being filled and you need it to be filled, ask somebody to fill it. They might say no, but they might say yes. If you're working with a lot of new parents, the one thing I would say is give them something short-term to start with. Something that is maybe not an overly huge commitment. Like, I wouldn't walk out the door today and ask a first day volunteer to lead a project. I probably wouldn't ask a first day volunteer to also be a co-club manager. I might ask them to do something like coordinate the snacks, help get people signed up for snacks, or help check people in as they come into the club meeting, things like that. Involving them in small short-term jobs, giving them a job during a project meeting. Teresa said, you said that you're leading a couple of projects. And so maybe in the foods project, we have somebody that helps kind of pick up some groceries or wash dishes or things like that. But we give them small jobs to do and then reel them in. Think about what got you reeled in as the club manager. We give them something small, we reel them in, and then we capture them with something bigger later down the road. Second, I would ask your agent to make sure that they send a reminder out reminding parents that this is not a daycare. Club meetings are not a drop and go. We are not a dumping ground for your kid while you go sit in a coffee shop or watch a movie. This is a family organization, and as such, we participate as a family. So we encourage our parents to be present at all activities with our students so that there's somebody there that is responsible for that student, because accidents happen, and we want to make sure that a parent is nearby in the event that one of those accidents happens. It's kind of a big safety thing for us. Second, we want the parents to learn alongside their child so that when they go home and practice these things that their student is learning, they're there to be able to help them, just like we would with schools or anything like that. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, we learn together, and then we transition home and put those things in practice at home as well. I would set up some adult participation in some things, set up things that encourage those family activities if you want to keep those parents there. One great way to do that is through competition. Pit the kids against the adults in whatever it is that you're doing, whether that's a recreational game, it's an icebreaker, it's a project activity, whatever it is, pit those adults against those kids, because nothing is going to be more fun for them and create more memories as a family than to do battle head-to-head in something like a food challenge contest or a showmanship clinic or things like that. Pit them against each other. Make it fun for them to learn alongside each other. And then again, if none of those are your cup of tea, just give them an assignment. Again, you're the club manager, and as such, it's your club to manage, with the guidance of the county extension agents, of course, but you have parents there. And so one person cannot shoulder it all, should not shoulder it all. And so with that, we just not asking if someone will sign up for this or if someone will sign up for that. You say, Teresa, this is your job. Paige, I would like for you to do this. And if they can't do it, they'll let you know, but most of the time they'll probably say yes. If you think about it this way, in a lot of the things that our youth are involved in, we have adult volunteers, right? So like if you think about your church has nursery workers that are probably volunteers. Some are probably paid, but some are volunteers. You have people that help out with Sunday school classes. We have people that volunteer to be greeters and hold the doors or pass out bulletins, things like that. Soccer has the snack moms. Baseball has moms that, again, bring snacks or dugout moms or anything like that. And, you know, we have all of these things that and other things that our kids are involved in that parents are required to be there. So why should 4-H be any different? I did see a question come in the chat. I'll get to that in just a second. I would say, and for some of you who are newer club managers, this is a great opportunity to set that bar with those volunteers and hold them accountable to that, and to set those expectations early on. So once you set them, you know, this is just how it is in our club. Our parents come in, we all have jobs, we all have things that we're doing, and we all work together as a team throughout the whole club to make it a great experience for all of the students. But we work together and we set that expectation at the beginning of the year. And then as we go along, that expectation is there and we're holding them accountable to that for the whole year. I do realize, again, that people are still people. And with that, people are still busy, and a lot of, you know, parents are not going to want to make that commitment. I get it. It's going to take a little bit of pushing and prodding to kind of put this thing into practice. But I promise once you do, it will pay off in multiple ways. Again, I will say a lot of the time people don't volunteer because they've never been asked. So ask, start small, and give them a job, and then bring them along to learn alongside their students. Okay, so the question was, is it okay to require parents to be registered if they're going to stay at meetings for insurance purposes and they have passed a background check? Yes, that's fine, to encourage those parents to go ahead and enroll themselves. We do we do say that, especially if they're going to have direct contact with any youth, we do want to make sure that they are enrolled and screened volunteers. A lot of people, if they're just going to sit there, like you try to give them a job and they said no, they would just rather sit in the back. Again, that's their choice. Not everyone's going to want to enroll, and that's okay too. But if they're going to have any kind of direct contact with the youth other than their own child, yes, they should enroll and they should be a screened volunteer. Okay. Oops. Let me go back. Okay, what is my job? In a minute, I'm going to show you our district website that has all kinds of things on it for you, and it has a chart on there of exactly what a club manager does. So we're going to circle back to that. The next thing we're going to talk about briefly is managing your finances. The one thing I will tell you that is, if you have a bank account, don't let it overwhelm you. You're not professional accountants, I would imagine, most of you, and so don't let it overwhelm you. We do have a Texas 4-H financial management guide that pretty clearly lays out the expectations for those clubs with bank accounts. If you have, from time to time, we have specific things that will come up. And so we can, answer those questions. I will tell you, I'm not diving deep into this tonight because we do have 3 videos that are coming out in the next 2 or 3 weeks that will dive deeper into all of financial management things. So be on the lookout for those. One thing I will say that worked for me when I was a county extension agent, and I know it works for a lot of other clubs, is that when we have things like adult leader meetings or we have club manager trainings, things like that, if you'll bring your books at that time and switch with another club in your county, you can audit each other's books, and so then you have a financial review on paper already, so that when it comes time to recharter your club, we have those things to back up all of our stuff. I was going to tell you one more thing about managing your finances, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, your IRS filings. The IRS stuff is due by December 20th. And so if you do have a bank account and you do have an EIN number, we have to get those 990Ns filed pretty quickly. And so again, that email just came out yesterday. So your county agent, if they haven't already sent it to you, should be sending it to you in the next week or 2. Just as a reminder, again, every county does it differently. Some file them for their clubs, some don't. It is just kind of dependent on your county, but that should be a conversation that we probably have with our county agent. Okay, Since we talked about insurance purposes, I want to talk about risk management for just a second. One thing with risk management is that you are the club manager. So at the clubs, the go-to person for anything that is happening is you. Okay, so if something happens, somebody falls, or what an example that we had one night was at an archery practice. We had somebody that was on a ladder hanging up a backdrop to catch all the arrows from the targets, and they stepped off the ladder and fell and hit their head. Okay, so that's an incident. And as such, there is a form that has to be filled out. When those things happen, your first call needs to obviously be to first responders if an ambulance is required. Second call should be to your county extension agent to let them know what's happening. Their next call is to me to make sure that I know what's happening, and we can go ahead and get that incident report filled out and get everybody on the road to being taken care of. I will tell you that Texas 4-H does have a liability policy. However, it is a secondary policy to your primary insurance. And so if something were to happen, we would have your primary insurance kick in, and then Texas 4-H liability insurance would kick in and take care of the rest of it. The stipulation with that, however, is that that insurance does not kick in for anybody who's not a currently enrolled volunteer or 4-H member. So if we're doing things like having club meetings or outdoor practices or riding horses or doing shooting sports or any of those types of things, any kind of club meeting that we have, or practice, project meeting, anything like that, those students that are participating in those activities and the adults that are there helping with those activities need to be enrolled. They need to have that enrollment in order to be covered with that insurance. Okay, any questions on that?
Megan, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I had a mom at our archery practice tell me that she's struggling financially right now. So she talked to somebody at the state office. She couldn't tell me who. That she's enrolled one of her kids, but she hasn't completed it. In other words, she hasn't paid for it. Mm-hmm. The state office told her, if I understood what she was telling me, that was okay. That the paying for was more for the liability aspect. I mean, I don't know. That seems kind of, I don't know. I didn't quite understand. Does that make sense to you? I mean, does she need to complete, in order for her to be covered, does she need to complete and pay for her enrollment?
Yes. Otherwise, she is not covered with our insurance. If she is struggling with that, I would encourage her to have a conversation with the county agent, because oftentimes there are opportunities for some waivers that we can submit to waive some of those enrollment fees, where there might be some local scholarships that can handle some of those enrollment fees. So I would encourage her to have that conversation with that county agent. But okay. Yes, in order for them to be covered by our insurance, they have to be fully enrolled.
Well, she didn't seem, because she said she has insurance, she didn't seem concerned about that. But I grew up, my parents were in insurance, so I was a little bothered by it. But not to mention the projects are at my business, and so I've kind of worked out a couple of possible people to sponsor her and mm-hmm. to work on helping her financially. But I will go back to my agent and see if there's anything county-wise as well. So
yeah, that's okay. What I would suggest for sure. And then, like I said, there's a waiver if there's not a county scholarship. There's some waivers that the agent can fill out to waive some of those enrollment fees if we need to.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about some risk management stuff or anything that we've talked about so far? It's kind of, I get very excited to talk to club managers, and I get very excited about these particular topics. And so sometimes I fire hose you instead of like a small steady drip. And so if it is a lot, I apologize. And if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask.
I have one quick question.
Yes, ma'am. When
we tell them to enroll as a volunteer, I know that's through the 4-H Texas, whatever, online. But what I'm wondering is, does that mean that they go through the same 2 different trainings that we did as well?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Every volunteer will have to do those trainings, the volunteer training and the child protection training. I even have to do those as a state employee. And so those are agency wide.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other
Megan,
questions?
I got a question.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
We recently had like the kickoff meeting and a lot of new potential members came. They got super excited about the actual projects, but wanted to sit in on a couple of meetings just to see if that was something that they truly wanted to do, just because they're more on the younger side.
Sure.
So is it okay if they come to like a food challenge practice and watch, just they can't touch?
Yeah, so there are a couple of instances when that's not okay, and that is with our shooting sports and our equine projects. We can't ride or shoot unless we are a fully enrolled 4-H member, just from the straight liability insurance stuff. I usually give kids about 1 to 2 meetings before I say, okay, you're not enrolled yet. It's time to poop or get off the pot, basically, you know. And so it's totally fine for them to come and watch for 1 or 2 times, and then encourage them to enroll after that.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, we're gonna dive in next to the really fun stuff, because this stuff is like the management stuff, but the next stuff is probably why you signed up to be a club manager, because it's the fun, it's the getting in there with the kids and doing all the fun things. And so we're going to start with club meetings. And with that, I have a little game I would like for us to play. If I can move some stuff around. Okay, I have another link to put into the chat box. Okay, so if you will click on that link that's in the chat box, we're going to play a little game that is all about club meetings. Did everybody get the link?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And bear with me for a second. I am learning how to do this. So does it show you the questions on there?
I think we had to join first.
Okay.
Yes, you join
Now
and it immediately starts asking with a timer.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes, already doing it.
Okay, so the first question is, what do we start the meeting with? And I see that 2 people have done it. This is one that sometimes trips the kids up a little bit, because they said, well, in our club we start with a game, and that's totally fine too. I'm going to go off what our traditional 4-H agenda looks like with some of these questions, and on that agenda it is a call to order first. Okay, so here we have that. Okay, so the next question is, what comes first, old business or new business? I think everybody got that one right. Old business comes first. That is correct. Okay. And then our next question, where does the treasurer's report go? In the officer reports, on the agenda, or after old business? Technically 2 answers to this one, but there's one actual answer. Yes, it does go on the agenda. I saw some people say that. Yep. Okay. So the correct answer is in the officer reports. When we do our agenda, we'll do our call to order, our pledges, our reading of the minutes, and then we'll go into officer reports and committee reports. And those officer reports can be the treasurer's report. It could be anything that any of the officers have to report on. Okay. Our next question is, what should be included in every meeting? Fun, a program or project demonstration, or the reading of the calendar?
I don't know. That's weird.
Okay. So the correct answer for this, fun is the #1 thing that we should have, but the one I was looking for here was the program or project demonstration. At every meeting, we have to have something to engage our families with, and that is something that they typically learn or that they participate with. So whether that is a guest speaker that comes in or it is a project activity that we went through, we should have something for them to have participated in or something to learn. I cannot tell you the number of times that I went to club meetings as an agent and had these expectations of all these things that were going to happen. And what happened was they had their agenda, and then everything they did was read the calendar to the people that were sitting in the room. The kids are zoned out. The parents are chatting in the back. Nothing is taking place, and it was the most pointless meeting ever because all they did was read the agenda that everybody, or the calendar that everybody just got in the newsletter, and so it wasn't engaging at all. That's not what we want our club meetings to be. We want our club meetings to be fun, to be engaging. If we do give them some highlights of the calendar, just point them back to their newsletters, or point them, give them some dates here and there, but they don't need to be read the newsletter. They don't need you to read the newsletter to them. So that's my soapbox for that for tonight. Okay. Okay. And then the next one is, where do the minutes belong? On paper, towards the beginning of the meeting, after the roll call, or before the officer reports? On paper, yeah. Okay, this one actually, oops, go back. Actually has all of the answers are correct. They should be on paper somewhere, whether that's an electronic form or a hard paper form. They do come before the officer reports, that is correct. Typically, we do the minutes after a roll call if you're going to do a roll call in your club, and they do go towards the beginning of the meeting. So that all of these answers were correct. There were no wrong answers with that, so great job. And the next one is, what should we end the meeting with? Announcements, recreation, program, or adjournment? Awesome. 100% of you said adjournment, and that is correct. Oh, somebody said recreation. Totally fine. The correct answer is adjournment. Again, this is going to vary from club to club. I did a club officer workshop with Hood County the other night, and one of the girls said, well, we adjourn before our program, so we don't have to come back and do that after our guest speaker. We're not holding our guest speaker up. Totally fine. That's great. Some people want to adjourn and then go play a game after that. That's totally fine too. But when we end the business part of our meeting, that's going to end with our adjournment. Whatever we do after that is extra stuff. Okay. Page 1, way to go, Paige. Crystal came in second, followed by Teresa, Tracy, and Kimberly. Awesome. Very good. Okay. So you can click out of that. We'll go back to our program.
Megan, quick question on the minutes. We send our minutes, when I send out an email about the meeting, I send a copy of the minutes, and then I'll have a few printed copies, but we don't really read the minutes because we send them out and say, here are the minutes, read them. And it kind of cuts down on the time to, is that okay?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay.
You have to make that work for you. Some people still like to read them out loud. Some people have very simple minutes. Some people have very detailed minutes. It is just kind of dependent upon A, who your club secretary is, and B, what you want to send out as club manager, and C, what works best for your club. Reading them in out loud to people, sending them out ahead of time, that's 100% up to y'all.
I mean, we do vote them in and have them accepted into the formally into everything.
Yeah, all good. Tracy, yes, I had never seen that program either. I'm back in school, so I'm in grad school right now, and that was a program that one of my classmates used the other night, and I liked it, and I was like, oh, I should use that in some fun places. So yes, I played around with it too. We did it the other night. So thanks for letting me drop it in here and use it on you guys. It was a fun little game to get to play.
And just curious, is it like a free trial type thing, or you can only ask so many questions like Kahoot is?
No, it's free.
Oh, sweet.
Yes.
I'm totally writing that one down.
Yes, Slido.com. That one was a fun one. So I'm in this program with a whole bunch of like teachers and superintendents and educators and stuff, and they have all these fun tools that I don't ever get to see. And so we've used so many cool things, and I keep writing them all down so I can use them in my presentations. So, okay, so the next thing, we're going to stay on this slide for just a second. I just have a couple of things to share with you. One is that a meeting should be both welcoming and fun. It, you know, the worst thing in the world, and some of you could attest to this, is to walk in and there be little cliques of people standing everywhere, and you're the new person and you don't really know what's going on or where to go, and nobody's really saying anything to you, right? So in those situations, are those people coming back? Absolutely not. I would not come back. And that seems to be a lot of the case in some of our clubs. I saw it a lot as an agent where we were not welcoming to new people, and maybe we were for the first meeting, you know, that we had all these people show up for the September meeting, and then once we got them at the September meeting, we didn't do it anymore. We have to continue those practices, to continue to welcome people in, continue to have fun, and to make the whole atmosphere be fun and engaging for our families to want to come back. We have to hook them in to keep them wanting to be engaged with us, right? With that, it should be engaging for all students. Back in May, I did a presentation on how to tailor some of your things to different learner types and different age groups. And so if you want to dive into that, you can go, I'll show you in a second where you can go and see that. We should have something to engage all of our kids, whether that is an icebreaker, a recreation, a hands-on program, anything like that. Teresa was on that last one, and one of the things that we talked about was handing some kids some pipe cleaners as they come into the meeting, so they have something to do with their hands. The other thing I like to do is give them an agenda, so they have something to follow along with, and they can see where we are in the meeting. The pipe cleaners, with those, they have something to do with their hands, and when our hands are engaged, oftentimes so are our minds. And our mouths are not moving, and we're not quite as wiggly because we're paying attention to what we're doing with our hands, and we're making all these things with these pipe cleaners, and we're paying attention to what's going on in the meeting. So those are some ways, some quick little tips to get involved with your, to continue to engage your students. Again, like I said, if you want to dive deeper into that, there's another video you can go watch and get some more information about it. But with that, again, I'll preach this till the day I die. There has to be some sort of program at every meeting. There has to be some sort of learning that takes place at every meeting, whether that's a project meeting or it's a guest speaker or anything like that. We have to have something to make it worthwhile for our people. Also, as a reminder, this is not it's not Tracy's club, it's not Kim's club, it's not Crystal's club, it's not Teresa's club, Wendy's club, or Paige's club. It's the kids' club. The kids are supposed to be the leaders of that club. They're the ones that are supposed to plan the meetings and help put together the agendas and run the meetings. It's their club. The whole point of this organization is to be able to empower our youth to be those leaders, to be able to take on those roles and to lead those clubs. They're definitely going to need some guidance along the way to help them work out some of the kinks and know what steps to take. But at the end of the day, it's their club. Whatever they want to do with it is what it is. Now, again, you as the club manager, help guide them along that path to make sure that they're making wise choices and good decisions. But ultimately, it's their club. I would also encourage you that if you have to have some sort of meeting with the parents or whatever, you do it to the side or you do it after the meeting. We shouldn't have a lot of parent back and forth discussions in the middle of the kids meeting, right? So again, they have their agenda and all of that stuff that they need to go through. If we have to do any kind of planning, do it to the side or do it after the meeting, not in the middle of the kids meeting. I would also say that the way I like to structure a room with those club meetings is that all the kids are up at front with so the club officers are maybe sitting up at front, and then all the kids that are there to participate in the club are sitting towards the front, and all the parents are towards the back of the room, so that we're engaging those students and that they're participating with that club, and the parents can scoot to the back and have their little stuff at the end. Yes, great. Thanks, Crystal. Appreciate it. Okay, let me find my mouse again. Okay, again, club meetings should be fun. I have a fun saying, it makes people feel one way or the other. So when I go home after work, if I'm gonna leave my house again and go out to a meeting, I gotta freshen back up, right? I gotta put more deodorant on, I gotta fix my makeup, I gotta fluff my hair back up, whatever. If I do all of that and go to a meeting where somebody reads me the calendar that I already have in my email, or I sit in a meeting that could have been an email, it just makes me want to rip my hair out, right? So when we have these meetings, we have to do what I call making them deodorant worthy, making them where people want to come back, where we do those things that people are having fun. The kids are having an icebreaker. They have a recreation. Obviously, they're going to have a snack, because what is a 4-H meeting without a snack? And they have some sort of agenda to go through. We have to figure out, and this is where we work with our club officers to figure out how we make those meetings deodorant worthy. We make them fun and engaging for all those people to come back. And I do have tips for you, but I'm gonna get through this so I can switch screens and get through them and then show you all the things on the other screens. Okay, with that, I've talked a lot about the club officers. There is a youth-adult partnership here between the club manager and the club officers. Okay, what are our roles in those youth-adult partnerships? Well, we have to establish clear goals and responsibilities, have mutual respect, ensure open communication, provide building and training, and share the leadership. Basically, a youth-adult partnership is a joint effort between the youth and adult working together to achieve a common goal. This intentional relationship, the adults offer our knowledge, our experience, and our access to resources, while the youth impart fresh ideas, new perspectives, energy, enthusiasm, and talents. And so we have these two roles that we play, and then we merge them together to create our leadership team in our club, right? As the club manager and the club officers. And so we have to do all of these things to be able to have that cohesive youth-adult partnership where we have empowered these young people to go up and be the leaders that we want them to be, but also we're there to provide the backup if they need it, you know, in the ways of resources or some knowledge or, you know, working through some different things that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so once we get those done, I want to show you some program ideas, and I hope that my screen, let me get back to over here and stop sharing that and share a different screen. Okay, so here is the Texas 4-H website. Some of you might be familiar with it, some of you might not. When you go to texas4-h.tamu.edu, you're going to see, let me just take you there. You're going to see this page. It pops up with all of our Big 5 project areas. We call our Big 5 project areas the Big 5 because that's kind of the 5 categories where everything falls. So we have agriculture and livestock, family and community health, leadership and citizenship, natural resources, and STEM. There's all kinds of things on here that you can explore that are project specific, but the one thing I wanted to talk tonight with you all is on this 4-H management page. At the top, if you just click management, it takes you here to this 4-H management. Here you'll find all the things related to managing the 4-H program. So it is all of our enrollment stuff. If you have somebody that needs like a paper copy of the code of conduct or consequences of misbehavior or some waivers, things like that, it's all right here. Here in this section is where you're going to find some things that are specific to you as the club manager, things like the financial management guide, the Texas 4-H rules and guidelines, our volunteer standards, rules and guidelines, that kind of stuff. We have these 3 project lists down here that are our project list of things that we offer typically across the state, some self-directed projects that we don't really technically like offer, but if a kid wants to do it, here's some that they could do on their own. And then those projects that our Clover kids can be involved in. So all of those are there for you. When it comes time to club chartering, all of that information is here. And then we get down here into our specific management resources. We have some of these things that are one-pagers about what our Big 5 project areas are. We also have this section down here, enhancing the club experience. So there are things like the information I just talked about with the benefits of youth-adult partnerships. That one is there with all the same language and all of that. This one, the club manager division of duties, is a really fun one to have. Maybe if you have more than one club manager working with your club, or if you wanted to do this with your county extension agent to figure out, you know, what they're going to do and what you are going to do, and kind of, again, have that clear, open line of communication and set those expectations of what you need from them and what they need from you. So this is a club manager division of duties, and it has kind of some of the things that we do as club managers or as county agents, and being able to assign those jobs to those people. I will just, I don't know that I necessarily need to say this, but I'm going to just say it for my peace of mind. If you assign them to your club, to your county extension agent, make sure you tell them that you assigned those to them, and don't just write it down on your paper and then never give it to them, because they're not going to know. Again, they're not mind readers. So we have to have that communication with them. On here is another really fun thing. It's 5 tips to being a successful 4-H club manager. And there are some fun things that we have already talked about in our presentation on how to be a successful club manager. Again, when we talk about those club meetings, this is right here. There's another page that is specific to our club meetings, but when we structure them, we have about 5 minutes to open them, 15 to 20 minutes for business, 15 to 20 minutes for a program, and then 15 to 20 minutes for a recreation. I kind of switch those up a little bit. I say business shouldn't be longer than 15 minutes. Our program should be longer than 20 minutes, in my opinion. A 30-minute program is kind of about the max that we're going to get out of those kids to be engaged, but it also allows them enough time to have that learning opportunity in there. And then the document that kind of tells you all, breaks those down a little bit more, is right down here. It says parts of a successful club meeting. And this one has what all of the things are, and kind of like a little bit of a script almost in here about all the things that we have in our club meetings. Okay. And it goes on and tells you all the things. There are also some activities on here. Agenda Mania is one if you're wanting to kind of get your officers trained. I've done this in a lot of different ways. It's where they have to put together the agenda. We have one where the no knots activity, it's like the human knot. And there's another one on here, it's called Group Juggle, and that's a really fun one too. Strategies for hosting successful 4-H meetings is fun. This gives you kind of some good information about what a successful 4-H meeting looks like. Again, it's all the things that we've talked about. It's the fun, the leadership, the welcoming, empowering your leadership team to be the leaders of the club, and then to keep that business meeting short. I'm not going to read all of these to you. I just want to show you that they're here and where they are, so that as you get further into this, you can go back and look at them yourself. If you have questions about risk management, always ask your county agent, or feel free to reach out to me. But there's also a PowerPoint on here that gives you some more in-depth information about that. Again, some more games are on here: Group Juggle, Hat Trick, and then some information about how to involve new 4-H members. A parent sample letter is here on the importance of involving the parents in the club, and how they can work to be part of your club and things like that. So if you need those resources, those are right here for you to use as well. So when we do involve those parents and we do get them, built into our club and helping out on the regular, think about the things that people do to recognize you for your work that you put in, whether that is recognizing you as a great volunteer, or giving you a pat on the back or a thank you card or anything like that. It's the same for your volunteers in your club. Recognizing them in some way is a great way to keep them coming back. Maybe we have a volunteer of the month in our club, or we have all the officers write them a thank you note, or we bake them some cookies, or we just send them, send an update about how awesome our volunteers are to the county extension office, anything like that, to kind of recognize our volunteers for the work that they do. There are also, this is the big one that I love so much, and it is these monthly meeting topics. Down towards the bottom of the page, there are these sets of things on how to, what can go into your meeting for that month, or just an idea of different things. There's 4 sets for every month. And so if we look at like the October one, it gives you a checklist of things to do in October. And then it also gives you a recreation idea. And then it gives you like a community service idea if you want to do community service projects each month. We don't typically have a flag ceremony. If you do, there's some stuff in there for that. It gives you an icebreaker, and then it gives you an inspiration, and then it gives you a program idea. So I will tell you that not every single one of these hits a home run, but there are bits and pieces of every single one of them that do hit a home run. And you have 4 for every month. So if you don't like all of one of them, pick and choose from the ones that are there, and it gives you kind of maybe not necessarily like a mandatory thing to follow, but maybe it gives you like just a general idea of some things that you could do for that month, or kind of gives you a jumping off point to on where to point your officers and how to plan that meeting. You know, some different program ideas or ideas for your meeting. My favorite part is the checklist at the front that kind of just tells you what typically is happening in that month so that you can, you know, make sure that all the things are being taken care of. There's also some 4-H logos on here that you can use however you need to, but those are the big highlights I wanted to show you on here. We also have on our district page, did that move for you on the district page? I want to make sure that you can see that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On our district page, we're d84h.tamu.edu, and I have a whole page for club managers. So on here, that chart I was telling you all about earlier is right here about what exactly a club manager does. Again, varies from county to county, but this is our general thing. We have our quarterly conversations. We'll have our next one in November. I do monthly newsletters that are out here. September got kind of wonky, but they are there for you to just kind of have some tips and tricks in there. And I also have a Google Drive for club managers that have all kinds of resources in it. So the link to the Google Drive is here. But in case Google Drives overwhelm you, because oftentimes they do to me, I broke all the things down with the links to like exactly all the things that you could need for down here. So there's like club meeting resources, volunteer resources. If you're having virtual meetings, which I did this during COVID, so those virtual meetings are probably not what we're leaning on more and more, but they're all there. There's financial management guides, an example of a budget, a check request form, things like that. Down here, if there's something that you see that's lacking that you think would be a tool that would help make your job easier as a club manager, let me know. Send me a message right here, or an email is fine too. And I'll either find it for you or I'll create it for you. Just so that we can make sure that your job as club manager is as easy on you as possible. But there's all these things in here. One thing that I love a lot is dealing with issues in your club, attendance and attitude. This is one of my favorite documents. Some of them are a little hokey on how to deal with some of these, but it's kind of like a great little general guide on how to take care of some of those things that are happening in your club that may not be the most favorable action. So there are some things that we can do to kind of help troubleshoot those and curtail those behaviors and attitudes a little bit. So again, some of them are a little hokey and a little not realistic, but some of them are really good. So those are all there for you. Again, all of these things are down here. It's overwhelming for me to just have the whole Google Drive to go through. So like I said, I broke them down for you. But some good resources, not just from Texas. I pulled them from Iowa, Ohio, Minnesota, all those things. Okay, Paige, that is a great question. I encourage students to run the club meetings. Again, it is a youth organization, and so as such, they should be the ones that are running those meetings. If you need help on teaching those kids how to run those meetings, let's start with your county agent and then go from there. But if your county agent is not able to help you with that, call me because I'm happy to come do a officer training or anything like that. I also have a whole host of district council officers who would be happy to help out with that as well. And I think you've got one there in your county, Paige, Paige Zagrowski, that would be happy to help come train some of those club officers in how to run a club meeting. Okay. It's David, your county agent. It's his daughter, Paisley. She is an awesome young lady. She is so good at everything, seems like. Okay, so that is a lot of the things I had to share with you tonight. What questions can I answer for you? And feel free to unmute or drop them in the chat, whatever. And let me check the Jamboard. Did we put anything on there? No, that's okay. No worries. I left you with a fun picture of my puppy who looks like an angry old man every time her lips get caught in her teeth. But oh, I had one more thing I was going to share with you, and that is our Pinterest page. We have a District 8 4-H Pinterest page. I have all kinds of resources on here. I add to it all the time. But there are some things that are kind of project specific, but there's like meeting ideas on here, stuff for record books, career prep, all kinds of stuff. But I try to add to it as I have time, but we have all kinds of resources on there for you as well. So.
I feel like I've joined a book club that's just me by myself having all this stuff to read.
I'm so sorry. It's a lot to read. But I promise if you start reading a little bit of it now, you'll have the answers in no time.
Yes, I really love it. It's wonderful.
Great. Awesome.
Megan, are you still doing your podcast?
No, my podcast partner retired from Extension, and so I just didn't really want to do it without her. So I haven't done it in about a year. But all those episodes are still up. So if you ever want to dive deeper into some 4-H stuff, I hosted a podcast for about 3 years called the 4-H Lunchtime Ladies, and it had we had all kinds of guest speakers on there, but there's a lot of fun tools on there as well.
I found them, I didn't get to listen to all of them, but the ones I did were very, very interesting, and I learned a lot. So
awesome.
If you ever find another partner, keep those up.
Yeah, Laura Hubinger and I were going to do it for a little while, but to be honest, the both of us have a problem saying no to a lot of things. And so we couldn't add anything else to our plates right now.
And I never knew about your Pinterest. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yes.
The Pinterest thing.
Yeah. So the Pinterest, Kim and Teresa, if you'll just search District 8 4-H on Pinterest, the page should show up for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
One of the other things I would suggest too is maybe search some of the other districts. Like I know District 2 has a really good Pinterest page that they add all kinds of stuff to all the time. I actually steal a lot of their ideas, but District 2 4-H has one. I think District 9 might have one. Just lots of our Texas 4-H might have one. But yeah, we all have those Pinterest pages with some good resources there for you. And I will tell you that I try to vet a lot of these resources. Like I'll try to go click on the links and make sure that they're actually like appropriate and something that I would put out to my people. So, okay. I'm going to leave you with a final thought, and that is that what you do matters. You as a club manager, the work that you put into your 4-H club and in the county program matters. It makes a huge difference, and it is such an important job. And I just want to commend you all for taking that step to saying yes to being the club manager and to taking on a new adventure this year or continuing on with an adventure from the previous years. And so again, thank you for your service and thank you for volunteering. And as always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to email me or, again, reach out to your county extension agent. We're going to do our next one. I think it is on November 9th, which is also a district contest day. But we're going to just power through and make it so fun. November 9th, we'll kind of wrap up for this semester and then what we're looking forward to for the spring. So we'll do that and be looking for our monthly newsletters to continue.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Awesome. Thank you. I hope y'all have a great evening.
You too.
You too. Bye.